Hey guys, so here I am on the ferry, rode up from Casablanca this morning. I left at 7 o'clock and got here, in fact, in time. I got here at 11, just after 11. So went through customs and all the police checks, and I made the 12 o'clock ferry, which is great. So theoretically it'll leave shortly. It's coming up to 12 o'clock. I will get to Spain around 1 o'clock. Which is wonderful, because if I'm out of there by 2 o'clock, let's say on the road, I can do 2 or 3 hours up the coast and find somewhere to stay. So that's great, so I'm very, very happy. Stepping a log in my lovely studio, that's nice. Really great night's sleep. Really good facility actually. Probably the best facility I've stayed in so far. No, it was the most expensive, but nonetheless, it was really nice actually. Difficult to find, as I said, but really, really nice. So nothing to report. I'm just going to record bits and pieces of my journey. I'll share them with you in full time. Bye bye. So guys, let me show you my ride today. I started down here in Casablanca after my excellent night's sleep, and I got straight onto the motorway, and I took the motorway the whole way up. So I went up by Rabat and straight up here, right up the coast, Darash, and right up to Tangier. And from Tangier I took the high-speed ferry from Tangier-Ville, so not the one I came in on the last time on into Tangier Med. I took Tangier-Ville's lovely little port over to Tarifa, and it was a 1 hour high-speed ferry, and then I rode up here on just a little back roads, however, up here to this place, Cornil de la Frontera, and I'm staying here in a campsite tonight. There's the well-earned glass of white wine, and I'm sitting here beside the pool. There's actually nobody around. The campsite is very, very quiet. It was a lovely campsite, nice friendly people. I've done about 3,000 miles, which is about almost 5,000 kilometers, and I'm anticipating about another 1,000 miles or 1,500, 1,600 kilometers. I've ordered calamari frito and I've ordered a big salad, so I'm optimistic. Either way, I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet today, and I ate with Edith yesterday at lunchtime. I didn't eat yesterday evening at all, and I haven't eaten yet today. And now it's about 5 o'clock, so I'm ready for some food. So that's sort of it. I'm going to sort of consolidate this, I think, into tomorrow and the next day as well, 2 or 3 days into one, because there's not a lot to say really about crossing on a ferry. And I'll upload the video when I've got something more important or significant to say. Okay. I just had my dinner, and here I am in the campsite. It's sort of deserted actually. Very, very few people here. It's a lovely campsite, and the food was nice, the wine was better. Expensive enough, to be honest, but really, really nice. Lovely swimming pool. The changing rooms and facilities are really, really good. The showers, like, spotless. So yeah, worth the money. So look at that for a nice shiny bike. I was sort of embarrassed by it riding around. It was so dirty. And I finally sort of managed to get the tent to work. I'm using 4 cords as opposed to 2, and it makes the canopy on the front work quite well. One way of crossing the river. Hey guys, so here I am in my campsite, and I'll show you in just a few minutes on the map exactly where I am. but just to give you a view of it, that's my view. Pretty wonderful. I arrived here about half an hour, 45 minutes ago, and Anne checked me in, and I set up my tent. Look at this little sort of artificial grass platform. So I'm actually, for the first time, I'm actually lovely and comfy. I'm not sleeping on rocks. And you can see the way I'm going to actually show you a quick setup of the tent and my sort of camping gear. So we start just here. You see I have this Helinox chair and a Helinox table. Super light. I actually got them for camping and not on the bike actually, because they're super light and easy to carry. But I use them all the time. They're really, really good. You can see the way I have the tent set up. The 2 guide ropes that they give you to tie the front awning, if you wish, isn't enough, so I've added 2 more. You can see them there, the green ones, to actually make it work. The little side, whatever you want to call them, covers, I have them out, so I have my helmet under that one and I have my boots under the other one. I tend to open the this awning as well, and after I don't put it up. If you wanted to raise it up, you could put 2 poles in, and in fact it might be a good idea to get 2 little poles you can pop into these little eyes there, little silver eyes, 2 poles to stand it up straight and then tie it down the way I have it tied down here, but from the poles. That way you'd have it coming straight out as opposed to just like that. I have it open there because I want the ventilation. You see in here you have the mesh, so just a mesh there, so you get the ventilation right through. There's my boots underneath the other one here. It's just sort of nice, it takes them out of the way. And of course you've got vents both ends of the tent. So underneath there where my boots are, there's a vent there and a vent to the other end where my helmet is. To show you inside the tent here. So here I am, sort of wandering in under my little canopy. Now you can see the canopy isn't very high, but it's good because it gives me shelter for all my gear. So I have all my bike gear here, you can see it here beside me laid out, all my bits and pieces. And they're out of the rain. Not that I've had any rain, but they're out of the rain. And here I've got the mesh here. I don't know if you can see if I can get this thing to the camera to work for me. Hold on a second. You see the mesh here, another mesh there, and there's another, see the black rolled up there, there's another I can actually roll down, another cover, and zip it up if I want the whole thing blacked out. If I close both sides, the whole thing is blacked out. But that's sort of the layout of it. Inside, just open the mesh here. You can see the size of it. It's really, you see the size of it there. It's really very big. In fact, it's 6 foot something long, as I'm only 5'6". It's more than adequate. It's got a little mattress at the base, and the mattress actually is comfortable enough. I think it's more comfortable than my air mattress that I used before. And the sleeping bag is sort of zipped onto the mattress. So you lie on the mattress and the sleeping bag zipped onto it, but it's very, very loose. It's nice and big and loose, which means you can move your feet around. It's not like sleeping in a sleeping bag, you're not confined. Having said that, as I've said before, it's not really warm enough. It has a ground sheet, the tent has a ground sheet built into it, and there's the other ground sheet that sort of wraps it over, so you pull it out and it forms a nice clean space for you when you're there. Just a quickie on the bike, just while we're here. As you can see, I washed it, so it doesn't look as manky as it looked after my bit of off-roading and my bit of desert and my bit of whatever. The tyres have worked out really, really well, and so that's the first thing I just want to talk about. And maybe I'm just imagining it. Maybe it's just that it gives me confidence knowing they're there, and because I have that confidence, I can do things I wouldn't do otherwise. I don't actually know, but certainly it feels better. A couple of things I want to mention about the bike. Cruise control. You see that little button there? That's it, cruise control. I use this all the time now. So I knock it on, knock it off, and that really rests my right arm and makes it really, really easy for me to ride the bike and to relax. You see here the charger I have in there. I've mentioned that before when I showed this at the very beginning. I'm using that all the time for the phone. And up here, you see that little unit I have there. I put in my battery backup pack in there, and I charge. I have a little charger there. I charge it from that. So I always have a backup battery, and not for the phone typically, but for my laptop. So if I'm working somewhere like here, for example, there's nowhere to plug in here. Well, there is, but I'd have to buy electricity. I'm not buying it. So I just charge that up, and that'll actually recharge my laptop completely from empty and recharge my phone a few times. And what else I want to tell you? I had another cover for the seat, one of these little gel things, but I actually stuck it down here behind the tent one day when I was riding, and obviously it blew away. And so I don't have any more. But I've noticed something. In the warm temperatures that I've been in, the seat has been softer than normal. So I can ride typically about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours before my bum begins to feel a bit sore. I do stop. Maximum I ride is 2 hours without stopping, and typically I stop more often than not. A couple of observations from today's ride. The first one is I'm doing about 400 kilometers a day, seems to be my average. I've done more. I did 500-600 one day, but typically I'm doing about 400 kilometers. At today's ride, I avoided motorways and main roads the whole way up. So I had a really, really nice ride. Now the ride up through Spain, of course, you know, I'm trying to avoid towns. So this is quite different from somebody who's going on a holiday and wants to go and see Seville or wants to go and see. This is the exact opposite. The purpose of this holiday is to ride my motorbike, see the countryside, meet the people. It's not actually going to cities. Motorbikes and cities don't mix. So I'm avoiding cities where at all possible. Hence, I'm out here absolutely in the middle of nowhere. The ride up was all agricultural land. And it struck me, and very nice agricultural land, very, very intensively farmed. And it just struck me how similar southern Spain is to Morocco. And of course, there was a land bridge until whenever it was, whatever number of millions of years ago, 100,000 years ago, whatever it was, I don't know, when the land bridge between Spain and Morocco actually collapsed and the water poured in and the Mediterranean was formed. The Atlantic actually poured in and filled the Mediterranean basin. So of course it is the same geography. So I shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised when I came back. I said, geez, it looks just like Morocco, just cleaner. And that was sort of interesting. So the agricultural land up was all sort of flat. It was easy riding, little country roads, lots of farmers, little farming towns. I stopped off for a cup of tea. I stopped off and made myself a sandwich at my usual. I had this, actually I'm going to make you laugh. I bought a baguette about this long, sort of a thick one, wide one, a tomato and a packet of Serrano ham. A total cost €1.50. you couldn't make it up. It's so inexpensive compared to Ireland. It's quite incredible. Anyway, I had my lunch and I chatted to these lovely Spanish people, and I'm gabbing away in my few words of Spanish and my English, only to find out that one of the guys has lived for years in the UK and in Amsterdam and speaks perfect English. But I had a lovely chat with him. And then I left there and I rode up to the Portuguese border, and it was amazing to see how it changed. Just before, maybe about 10-15 kilometers before the Portuguese border, I moved into this rolling hillside, just like this, all sort of scrubland, full of heathery type, scrubby type of vegetation. Nothing growing here, no crops, nothing, just rolling hillsides like of scrub. But absolutely magnificent. And I rode up through those mountains, switchback after switchback after switchback. Some of it was single lane, literally like a boreen. And well, all the potholes were filled in. There were lots of them, but they were all filled in. And it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ride. And got up here to this place. I found this place. I'm using Search for Sites. Primarily, that's what I'm using. I find that it's a really good app, and that the references, what people actually say about the site, is true. So they give you unfiltered feedback on the site, and they said this place is really has spectacular views. It's very quiet, it's very welcoming, and lovely hot showers and all the rest of it, toilet paper in the toilets and so on. And so here I am, and I sort of tend to do that. I ride for half the day, and then I find a nice campsite, put it into my Google Maps, and just ride to there, and that's it for the day. And it's going to cook me a pizza, she tells me. She's to go make me a really nice pizza with chorizo, and I'm going to have pizza, and I'm going to have loads of wine, and I'm going to get a great night's sleep. So that's it. Nothing really else to report. I might pull this video together now with yesterday's one and try and make something out of it. I'm glad to be back in Europe. I enjoyed Morocco. I have been considering, as you know, I've mentioned before, that I'm going to winter somewhere where it's warm. I've really had enough of the Irish winters. As I said earlier in one of the earlier videos, I found last winter actually depressing. I think actually I was depressed, genuinely depressed by the end of the winter. I know it was the same everywhere, dark, grey, wet and so on. It wasn't just Ireland and it wasn't just the west of Ireland, but sure as hell felt like it for me. And being a single guy on my own down there in Ballinrobe, I'm not sure it's good for me to be there in the winter when the weather is like that. So my plan, I think, for this winter is to go away maybe a number of times, go away for 3 or 4 weeks, come back, go away for 3 or 4 weeks, come back, something like that over the winter, and try different places. So the trip to Morocco and the trip to Spain and to Portugal was about looking at places that I find interesting. My good neighbour and good friend John Brady told me that Morocco is not the place for me, and I think he's right. Even though they speak French there, I sort of like that. I could practice my French. I think, in fact, the Mediterranean coast, Altea and that area down as far as Alicante is probably the best area for me to go to. So I think I'll go back in end of August, September, go back for a few days and walk, just fly down and walk around and see the areas, go to 2 or 3 different towns in that area and find somewhere, and then plan to go down for a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks in, say, November, for example, and try out a place, and then go back down in January for 2 or 3 weeks and try out a different place and so on, and get a feel for it. So that's sort of the plan at the moment. So that's sort of what this trip is about. So I'm glad to be back in Europe. Like, the standard is just better. The standard of everything is better. It's more expensive than Morocco for sure, and probably actually it's funny, Spain was probably I've always thought about half to two-thirds the price of Ireland, and Morocco is about half the price of Spain. So you know, you get the point. Having said all that, I think I want a certain level of development, and it's really the dirt I can't put up with. I think more than anything else, that's the thing that sort of I find difficult. I found that difficult when I lived in Africa. I found that difficult when I travelled in Asia. I'm very European, I think, in that regard. So that's it, guys. I'll pull this video together and I'll upload it, and I'll talk to you again soon. So let me show you where I am and where I rode from. So this is where I rode from down here, Conil de la Frontera. I stayed there in a lovely campsite actually last night. And then I sort of went off up here, up little roads here. I didn't go into anywhere in the city. Sort of wandered up here and then wandered cross country here, and sort of all little back roads, country roads, over past by here, north of this, and cross country here, and over here to Portugal, to Alcutim, which is where I am right now. And as I said, that little stretch there, that last little bit there, was absolutely wonderful. This is really hilly. It doesn't look it on the map, but it's really, really hilly, and I'm going to head over now. So my next plan is sort of head over here, somewhere over here, and stay away from, again, the cities. I want to stay away from the Algarve. I want to stay away from all that tourism, and get over here cross country, and then work my way up through the mountains. I work my way up, right up through the mountains, right up through the middle of Portugal, and up to Porto, and I'm hoping to meet a friend of mine in Porto. So that'll be it over the next couple of days. We'll ride the length of Portugal.